Bldr Athletics, Team BA. I'm Coach Dylan.
I'm Coach Park.
I'm Coach Emily.
This is Phase 3.
Phase 3.
Trace. Welcome. This could be your Phase 3. This could be your Phase 1. It is an excellent time right now to jump into this with us, and it's going to be an awesome 30 days. We're cutting out the crap. We're cutting out the sugar. We're cutting out the alcohol. We're eating good foods. We are growing as individuals. We're doing all the things that make us the best that we can be. So what we're doing today, we're starting today. We're doing the Daily 4, which we've been doing the entire time. We are doing at least 5 Bldr Athletics workouts, scheduling them. We are eating no refined sugar, no alcohol. That is what's changing this next 30 days. Also 2 outdoor activities. It is beautiful outside. Go get some skiing in, go get some biking, running in. And we always have that unique weekly goal that comes in emails that the lovely Coach Dylan sends out every Sunday. Park, what is sugar?
Refined sugar is that sneaky son of a gun that seems to be in everything that has literally no nutritional value for us whatsoever. We have provided a list, a pretty lengthy list of about, I think it's 67, something like that, 67 sneaky names for refined sugar. So refined sugar is any sugar that doesn't come inherently from whatever food source that might be. It has a ton of different names, and like I mentioned before, it's in everything. So one of the things we wanted to make sure that we touched on are things like bacon, things like salad dressing. We're really gonna have to read some labels in order to ensure that we're not getting that, you know, those weird ones, maltitol and I don't know, I'm trying to come up with some other weird...
Glucosamine.
Sucralose, all those weird ones, right, are all refined sugar, and they're in everything. Things that say no sugar added, don't trust every label. Don't do it. You've got to look on the ingredients, or I'm sorry, don't trust that little tagline on the front of the label, whatever it is. Take a look on the ingredients and make sure that you compare that to your 67 sneaky names for refined sugar.
Dylan, tell us a little bit about reading our labels, what that looks like, what we should look out for. What's the facts?
I think Park touched on a lot of it. The biggest thing is just actually taking the time to look on the back of the list. It'll have sugar, and then usually most labels have like added sugar. That's what you're really looking to be aware of. If you're eating things like fruits, if you're eating things like raw honey, even some milk has some natural sugars in it. That's going to have other things like fiber, like protein, other things that's going to help facilitate the use of those calories. The things where you're having added sugar is just they've taken just the sweet part of that, whatever they've taken that sugar from, and have added it into whatever product you're eating. So it's really important to just be cautious of those things that you're putting into your body, because we want to use them the most efficient way that we can. So looking on the back of that label, there's a long ingredients list. Sometimes they get like stupid long. The biggest thing is maybe checking out those things that you're not quite sure of, and then referring to that list that we sent on an email. There's lists online if you just type in many names of sugars. Everybody has a list, but if you want to refer to that list that we sent, there's a huge names of different things. There's some real sneaky ones in there, and just being aware of things like Park and Emily were talking about things like bacon, things like peanut butter. They say no sugar, but then they'll have some type of sweetener like stevia or whatever kind of sweetener is in it, still in that product, even though it says no sugar.
Well, it's because the word itself, right? The ingredient itself. So maltitol, the word isn't sugar. Isn't that correct? Isn't that how they get
it's a sugar alcohol. Maltitol is a sugar alcohol.
So because the word isn't sugar, they're able to say there's no sugar, but that is actually a refined sugar.
It raises your blood sugar. That's the biggest thing. All these sweeteners raise your blood sugar and cause some hormone effects and some weird little things happen. So it's just something that we should be aware of what we're putting into our bodies.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, there's a huge list that we have of things that we cannot eat. What can I eat?
I think the biggest thing is that you can eat all of these. I think it's just something that we should really be aware of. I don't think there should be like, we should label things as good and as bad. All things are important for us to intake into our body. I think we just really need to use these things efficiently and well. If we want something sweet, fruit has these other things into it that we're going to be able to use those calories. If we eat a donut, it's mostly just sugar, and we can't use other things that are in that product to efficiently fuel our bodies well. We're going to spike our blood sugar, and then we're going to crash really hard. these all natural sugars allow us to really use these things well and efficiently in our bodies.
Well, and we want to continue trying to do, right? What we've done here in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is trying to build on each and every one of these blocks, right? So we don't know how you guys tell us. We want to know how you responded to the earning your carbs. Is that what we did prior to this? That's still something that we can do. We encourage you to do it, truthfully. Like that is something you can do for the rest of your life to really be as efficient with the macronutrients that you're putting into your body. Here's another opportunity to do that. Just that donut that we said was okay one time a week or so, let's have some self-control and cut that out for the next 30 days.
Replace it with something else that's sweet but still like natural.
Now we haven't talked about the alcohol, right?
Let's switch gears. Let's switch gears from sugar to alcohol. I've heard that a glass of wine is totally fine. I've heard that maybe a beer at the end of the night is totally fine. It's good for my sanity. Park, what do you think about that?
Well, I can't argue sanity. I really can't argue that. I can't argue that at all. But what I can say is that the momentary relief, I don't know, that sounds weird, that you're getting from that winding down feeling or whatever it might be that you get from enjoying that glass of wine or bourbon or beer or whatever that might be at the end of the night, what's going to happen is your body doesn't want that in its system. And if you track your heart rate variability in any sort of way, we're not necessarily saying to do that, but if you do, it's a very clear indicator that, for example, my resting heart rate is somewhere between 41 and 43 on a typical night. Hydrated, getting a good amount of sleep. I've eaten the way I'm supposed to, and I haven't eaten too close to bedtime. My heart rate's right around 41 to 43. The second I introduce alcohol, that thing bumps all the way up to 15 to 20, 25 beats per minute higher than it is when I'm in my prime state. What else? Inflammation, right?
I think the biggest thing is actually being able to feel the difference between that. I think if you've kind of gone to this like, oh, I always have a glass of wine with
Totally.
dinner. I think maybe taking that out and seeing how differently you feel after a couple weeks of that, you really be able to notice the difference between having it and not having it. My sleep is through the roof when if I have a beer on the weekends. I notice even just half a beer sometimes. I notice my sleep just plummets. You have inflammation, you can't get into REM sleep. I think just maybe taking notice of when you drink and when you don't drink, and really knowing the difference between the two and how you feel. I think we can all attest to how we feel versus how we feel when we drink versus how we feel when we don't drink.
It's really the overarching theme of what we're doing the next 30 days, right? Like, we want you to feel, hopefully, the way your body feels at its absolute prime. Working out, 5 days a week?
5 days a week, yep.
Getting enough sleep. Your sleep is greatly impacted by these sugars and these alcohols and the food and all the things that we're putting into our body. So we want you to feel what it would be like for the next 30 days to have your body running like a freaking Ferrari, like perfect. And then make the, YOLO choice of...
Conscious decision.
Right, exactly.
I know this is how this is going to make me feel, but I'm choosing to do this because I want to live my life. But I know how different I feel because of this and because of sugar or because of alcohol. But
what we want you to ultimately get to the point of doing is that 99% of the time, 98% of the time, you are eating the right foods, working out the right way, getting the right sleep, and eating. That is what Bldr 2021 is. We understand that every once in a while you get together with a friend and you want to have that drink and have a good time or that donut, and we encourage it. But if we're doing it all the time, and by all the time we mean more than just once or twice a month, it is going to have a negative impact on our body.
it's really the ultimate form of self-care because you're putting these really beautiful things into your body and really fueling your body well. You're doing good things for yourself, and that should feel good.
So wrapping this all up, you guys,
Sounds good.
what we want to do is we want to take it all out for this last 30 days. Living your best lifestyle is knowing where you can modify, knowing your modification, knowing when to have a good time, knowing when to have that beer. But another way to live your best lifestyle is completely taking it out and showing that willpower for 30 days and cutting out all of the crap.
How do you ever know what
You're capable of.
Yeah, exactly. How do
Yes.
you ever know
Yes.
how your body really is supposed to be operating if we're always consuming these things, right?
Show yourself what you're capable of. Give yourself that for 30 days. If you have never done that before, do it these next 30 days. We are going to do it. It's going to be awesome. We can't wait to see what you guys have. Please write some questions in the bottom of this podcast. Give us questions at the gym. Anything else, guys?
Let's get it.
Let's get it.